business.
Help local businesses in your area by becoming a SCORE mentor. Find out more at score.org/Vermont.
Ending now on a good note. There's a special place in Illinois that's giving disabled and troubled veterans a renewed sense of hope and brotherhood. Mike Bush takes us to Dude's Playground.
Sometimes stepping into the great outdoors can help you find inner peace. That's the idea behind this hidden sanctuary in Waterloo, Illinois. Welcome to Dude's Playground, where disabled veterans find solace, friendship, and a flicker of hope.
Here at Dude's Playground, our mission is to bring people out that don't normally get out.
Named after his steadfast companion, Dude the dog,
I want your love.
Richard Melching Sr. bought this property when he was going through his own
I
struggles.
want your love.
Haunted by the weight of his own Army service, relentless migraines became his burden. In the depths of despair, he put a loaded gun in his mouth.
The oil on the gun woke me up, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And later that morning, I was introduced to the psych ward for the first time. I don't care if you served in wartime. I don't care if you served in peacetime. We all raised our right hand.
After getting treatment, Rich made it his mission to start a recreational retreat for disabled veterans.
I shed a tear. I prayed to God and said, I want to share this.
Dude's Playground offers leisure activities like fishing.
They've given me MRIs and everything on my back.
But it's also a refuge for veterans to unload their burdens.
I was scared. I was scared the time I got in there and the time I got out.
And embrace the camaraderie they had while serving.
When it first happened to me, I was scared to death. I don't know what was going on.
You become part of a brotherhood, and this is a perfect place to come and be a part of that brotherhood.
And I get nothing but peace. Peace of mind, peace of self. It's best therapy that I could even get, even if I was in a hospital.
Retired Marine Corporal Robert Wygand served in the unforgiving terrain of Vietnam. In addition to the mental toll, he battles various physical issues due to exposure to the toxic herbicide Agent Orange.
I will try to get you a pension.
He says Rich gave him a priceless gift, hope.
Hey, buddy.
When he says he's your friend or brother, you are. And matter of fact, all these people around here are his brothers.
Well, those are probably the ones I just bought.
Rich says many vets confine themselves to the four walls of their homes.
Hi, buddy.
He encourages their courage to pay him a visit.
We had a veteran that only stopped in for 15 minutes today, but it got him out of the house. So he got out of the house and he came down here. He said, I don't like to go anywhere else. He don't go to the park. He don't want to do anything like this. He said this is the only place that he goes besides his own backyard.
An oasis where the cacophony of life gives way to the symphony of nature.
It's a big family, that's all this is. Everybody helps one another, and it's great.
What do you think, buddy? Huh?
Richard Melching and Dude's Playground.
Thanks again, man. I appreciate it. The fishing was awesome.
Transforming veterans' troubled thoughts into a renewed sense of purpose and belonging.
It's fun. It's a beautiful place.
This is cute. A homeowner in Scottsdale, Arizona made a startling discovery in their attic. This bobcat kitten. It had apparently made its way into the home through a hole in the roof. The Arizona Fish and Game Department helped catch the kitten, but the mom was nowhere to be found until, well, they had first contacted the Southwest Wildlife Conservation Center. They took in the bobcat temporarily. Coming back to that mom, though, later the same day, wildlife officers found the mama bobcat in a bathroom. They were able to catch her, and they reunited her with her kitten. And as you can see,
now your Channel 3 Matt's Advantage forecast.
Fortunately, it's dry out there this evening and into tomorrow, aside from the chance for an isolated shower or storm, but it should mainly be dry, which is good for the rivers and all of the flood recovery efforts out there. And this evening, we still have some rivers at moderate and major flood stage, but most have crested and are on their way down now. And now, as we head into Thursday and Friday, it once again turns very humid, and we still stick with this unsettled pattern, unfortunately. So we'll be tracking some clusters of showers and storms most days going forward. Won't take much to reinvigorate some flooding, so we'll have to monitor that potential very closely.
Jess, thank you. Next on the Channel 3 News at 5, team coverage of the storm continues.
We take you into Barrie and Montpelier for the latest on the flooding there. Right after this, don't go anywhere.
Summertime in New York.
It's easy. Easy to find big thrills. Easy to chill. Easy to do it all together. Easy to make memories that last forever. It's easy to love New York, and it's easy to plan your summer getaway at iloveny.com.
At Thomas Mechanical, we're hiring. Are you looking to start a career in the heating and plumbing industry? Or maybe you're a skilled welder looking to join a new team. Work on state projects through our apprenticeship program. We have the best benefits around with 100% paid health premiums for you and your family. 401k match up to 10%, and apprentices earn pay raises every 1,000 hours worked. We'll get you trained, licensed, and ready to work in the field. To apply, call 802-863-9577 or go to thomasmechanicalinc.com. Watch Calvin Cutler, weeknights on Channel 3.
Tonight on the Channel 3 News at 5, disaster in Vermont.
The devastation and flooding we're experiencing across Vermont is historic and catastrophic.
Rescues continue, thousands of homes and businesses lost.
Bad, very bad. So there's not a lot of good stuff left.
We have team coverage from the hardest hit areas.
Also, dramatic video from our viewers of the flooding they're seeing today.
Plus, we're with the National Guard trying to reach those stranded by rising water and sky to see the damage from above.
The rain has ended, but flood concerns continue as rivers remain at moderate and major flood stage. I tell you how much longer it lasts and the forecast for rain going forward coming up.
Live from Vermont's own WCAS, the Channel 3 News at 5 starts now.
You are looking at the devastation left by the storm overnight. Rivers overtaking parts of the state.
Water's still high right now in many communities this evening. Today, President Biden has approved a disaster declaration for the state. And we have team coverage from across the state tonight with the latest on the damage. Rachel Mann is in Barrie, Catherine Huntley in Montpelier, Haley Morgan in Winooski, and Ike Ben David in Johnson. And we're going to start with Rachel in Barrie, where the city is working to clear major roadways and prepare for another round of storms this week.
Dozens of rescues took place overnight, with waters getting to their highest at around 3 o'clock this morning. Rachel Mann, what are they dealing with right now?
Darren and Kat, city officials tell me where I'm standing here on North Main Street had up to 3 feet of water this morning, and in areas where it was deeper, closer to 6 feet. You can see a lot of this damage behind me going towards 62. There's mud. There's even more mud even further down North Main, and if you look over towards Maple Ave, the trucks may be blocking it a little bit. It is still completely flooded out and impassable. Things here don't look great right now, but at least some cleanup is getting underway. Devastating. That's the only way many Barrie residents describe the situation.
Transportation, access to supplies, access to health care, etc. Everything, as far as I can tell, has been disrupted.
Businesses like Next Chapter Books and Rooted Yoga are starting to clean water and sludge out of their spaces.
Out of our product up off the floor, we're hoping to save the bookshelves. We just don't know.
The studio is going to be closed for quite a while, so we have to replace a lot in there, and I'm just clearing everything out right now.
Outside, the Rainbow Rapid Response Team is handing out essentials like water and feminine hygiene products to those who need it.
People are basically mucking out their homes right now. The socks have been coming in handy. No one has clean socks or shoes.
City Manager Nicholas Storelli Castro says floodwaters are going down, though the concern for landslides like this one on Route 62 is still high.
They happen. It is hard to do anything about it. We can take proactive actions if we think there's something imminent, but it's really trying to be proactive and trying to get to people who are trapped.
Even though dozens of people have already been rescued from their homes, he adds they're not out of the woods, with more rain expected this week.
Trying to find the positive in all this is that amongst, even in the devastation of this, one of the first messages that were coming in from people is how to help.
People here helping us all night, all morning. Yeah, people have reached out. I think my phone is pinning.
There's a lot of talk about Vermont Strong and the power of community and stuff, but it's really obvious, I think, when you're down here on the ground.
If you are in the Barrie area and in need of assistance, the American Red Cross has opened a shelter at the Barrie Auditorium. The Rainbow Bridge Community Center is also stocking those essential goods that were talked about in this story outside at North Main Street. In Barrie, Rachel Mann, Channel 3 News.
Rachel, thank you. And Montpelier also underwater this evening still. Catherine Huntley is there for us now. Catherine, is it getting any better?
Kat, it is definitely getting better. That is the great news. However, the bad news is you still can't really get around downtown. We're right across from the State House here, but it's across several inches of water, which are still on the road. But people are starting to come out, as people do after any disaster, and survey the damage. Now, we can tell that the water has gone down quite a bit because there is plenty of debris around, things that were loose and were carried by all the water. Now, down here on State Street, still a pretty big issue. You can see that Subaru in the middle of the intersection, presumably somebody who tried to drive through the floodwaters but stalled. So a decent amount of water still on the street. Even here, someone was trying to bike through the water and eventually gave up. Now, I will say, as the water tries to get out of town, which it is doing, the river just outside of town is absolutely swelling. It has gone down quite a lot since we actually got here earlier this afternoon, but there's a ton of debris from anywhere else in Vermont that it was taken from coming through, but at least now it is going under the bridges and it is finally making its way out of town. But a very soggy night, and we hear all these air bubbles coming out of the road. We're not sure what that's about. Plenty of bubbles. So definitely a major cleanup coming to Montpelier tonight. So we'll send it back to you for now. Live in Montpelier, Catherine Huntley, Channel 3 News.
Catherine, thank you. Much of Hardwick cut off tonight. Parts of Route 15 completely washed away, so much so we couldn't get there. But we're told the damage is widespread to homes and even a hotel. The inn by the river destroyed. Residents tell us debris from the hotel is now floating down the Lamoille River. The Wrightsville Dam in Montpelier closely watched tonight. We're told that the water is about a foot below the auxiliary spillway, and it's not certain that the water will go over it. City officials tell us the water is rising much more slowly now than last night when they first advised residents to head to the second floor of their homes just in case the water went over the spillway.
Places like Chittenden County are not seeing widespread flooding, but the Winooski River is roaring through its namesake city. Our Haley Morgan is there right now. Haley, tell us what you see.
Darren, the Winooski River is very high. You can hear the water flowing and all of the currents clashing together. And this area has been blocked off so that people, take safety precautions. But we were here this morning as many residents and visitors gathered by the river to see the rushing water. The river is at its highest peak right now. It should be slowly receding throughout tonight and tomorrow. People coming to see the river say they have never seen the water this high before, and they hope it doesn't stay like this for long.
It's incredible. What really hits me is the smell. You get close to it and it smells terrible. Yep, and it's it's totally obliterated the falls here in Winooski.
Now, it is advised if you come down to see the water, stay on dry land and don't wander towards the riverbank. And later at 6, we'll talk to more people about what they think about this rushing water. In Winooski, Haley Morgan, Channel 3 News.
Haley, thank you. We now look to Lamoille County.
And that's where we find our Ike David, who is live in Johnson, where the downtown is flooded. Ike, you've been there most of the afternoon. What's it like now?
Yeah, the sun is shining now in a completely different atmosphere here. Where I'm standing right now, it would have been hit high in water just a few hours ago. The water clearly receding. We're seeing roads that were completely flooded now with no water in it. Not saying the roads are open, but the roads are cleared of water. We're seeing folks around Johnson walk around with trash bags, starting to pick up the garbage and debris. But the impact of the flooding being felt here like it is all across the state. From downtown Johnson to a nearby trailer park to a flooded organic farm, the high waters leaving an impact.
It's devastating. It's memories of Irene.
There's going to be some people that'll be tough to come back from this.
Cars and houses covered in water.
It's pretty bad. Like the doors to houses look like small windows.
Route 15, the main road that stretches through downtown Johnson, looking like a river with boats rowing through the street.
Kind of sad when you have to go out in a boat to get somewhere.
Some were out there to prevent any more damage, like Dale Johnson of Bourne's Energy, who was shutting off propane tanks.
We didn't care whose company it was. We tied every one of them off, shut them off all the way down through. So
I was even able to get out and see some damage up close.
I've been on the other side for a little bit. This is my first paddle, actually.
An up-close look shows the high water surrounding the Sterling Market and other businesses. The damage cost for business and houses is still unclear.
The Sterling Market, just some things we may not have around here that we take for granted.
Down the road in Moorestown, the water was still running high at midday, closing roads, making it nearly impossible to get to Hardwick.
Oh, it sucks, to put it bluntly.
Why is that?
Because we can't get anywhere. Everything is shut down, basically. You can't go south, you can't go west, you can't go east. Wherever you're at, that's where you are.
What would normally be an access area to put your canoe in the Lamoille River, now the water is so high you don't even know where the river actually starts. Others say it's a part of life in the region.
Been there before. Been a while. Irene and other situations.
Back in Johnson, the focus now turns to the cleanup.
Just came in quick, and thank God it's leaving quick.
And leaving quick, it's exactly what it's doing, as you saw in that video. And as I mentioned before, I would have been in hip-high water just hours ago. So some good news happening here in Lamoille County, but crews have actively been working through the day as, again, the water is going down. I am told people did need to be safe from their homes. The exact number is still unclear, but I am told there were no serious injuries. Reporting live in Johnson, Ike Ben David, Channel 3 News.
Now your Channel 3 Max Advantage forecast.
Well, the good news in all of us is the rain has finally come to an end. That low pressure system has moved away, although it takes a while for those rivers to respond once the rain has stopped, because the rain has just been so significant. Still, we have not much on radar, but a significant number of flood warnings in effect, mainly along those rivers now. So the Missisquoi River, the Lamoille River, the Winooski areas that have continued to see issues, the Barton River, the Otter Creek, even for the Connecticut River for points south of Claremont, New Hampshire. So those remain in effect through tonight and into tomorrow in some cases. So the water is receding for most spots right now, but it's happening slowly. Eventually, we'll start to see most rivers dropping below flood stage either at some point tonight or in some cases even during the day tomorrow. So if you live in those flooded out areas, continue to stay vigilant. Stay away from that floodwater. You don't know what's in that floodwater. There could be sewage, bacteria, electrical current, debris, and the road and ground underneath could be compromised or washed out. So best to just stay away from it. Don't try to bike through it, walk through it, any of that stuff. And these are still rivers that continue to sit at moderate or major flood stage at this time. So those rivers we've had persistent issues with, the Winooski, the Lamoille, the Missisquoi at East Berkshire, and we have actually seen the Missisquoi near North Troy drop to minor flood stage now. A number of rivers still sitting at minor flood stage as well. The Barton River, the North River, Dog River, Wells River, and Sugar River. Now we have seen again that major flooding in Montpelier. The gauge there is still at major flood stage, but it has come down quite a bit from where it peaked early this morning. 21.35 feet, of course, higher than Irene by more than 2 feet, and now sits at 18.02 feet and falling. And as for the Winooski in Essex Junction, that's one of the slower cresting rivers. We haven't actually started to see that one drop yet, so crest is still to be determined. It's sitting at 21.62 feet right now. That's a little bit less than Irene, but certainly nowhere near a record for there. As we go through tonight, though, at least a mostly clear night ahead. Some areas of fog to start the day, but overall a decent Wednesday for cleanup and recovery efforts out there. Good amount of sunshine, just a small chance for a shower or thunderstorm, but we do have more chances for storms later this week. I'll have more on that and the flood potential there in your full forecast.
Our coverage of the catastrophic flooding continues next. The governor's message to Vermont.
Vermonters have proven time and time again we're willing and able to step up.
Plus, the help that's here, the help that's on the way. That includes the National Guard.
For communities hit hardest by the flooding, help from the Vermont National Guard is on the way. I'm Calvin Cutler. Coming up on the Channel 3 News, we'll show you their response.
And while water still rises in some areas, cleanup begins in others.
Damage to Ludlow that town officials are calling catastrophic. Coming up on the Channel 3 News, we show you the damage and tell you what's to come.
And the devastation from above. Channel 3 News takes to the sky for a bird's eye view of some of the worst hit areas. We're back in a moment.
At Vermont's Career Technical Education Centers, you can start exploring a future career today, right in high school. From college prep to whatever is next, step up your education and stand out. Together, we can turn your passion into a path forward. Because what moves you is what moves you towards the future you want. Start exploring at Vermont's Career Technical Education Centers today. Learn more at vermontcte.com.
We have 5 swimming areas for all ages. The Tropical Oasis, Great Slides, the Wave Pool, the Dolphin Lagoon, tubing down the Nile River, the Africa Terrace in the middle of the African Plains, and our new electric bush trucks. Fun and adventure await you at Park Safari.
You've got questions.
Do I need a multivitamin?
We've got answers.
Should I get a flu shot?
Catch Ask Your Kinney Pharmacist, Thursday mornings at 6 and at noon during the Channel 3 News.
It's the Toyota Summer Savings Event featuring cars from the longest-lasting brand, Toyota. And right now, you could save up to $1,300 with 3.99% financing on a Corolla. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, Vermont and the North Country. Weather changes on a dime this time of year. That's why you need the most experienced, most trusted weather team. When sunshine is in the forecast, turn to us so you can make the most of the day. With our 24-hour weather channel, you can plan for that epic outdoor adventure.
That's going to warm us up very nicely.
Straight talk with no hype so you can maximize your day every day. Vermont's own Channel 3 Weather. The region's most experienced weather team. Vermont's own WCAX.
It's back. The National Life Group Do Good Fest returns on July 15th in Montpelier. Don't miss your chance to see live music, including this year's headliner, Plain White Tees, food trucks, kids activities, fireworks, and more. Stop by the nonprofit village to learn about dozens of local organizations that inspire us to do good. The National Life Group Do Good Fest benefits Branches of Hope, the Cancer Patient Fund at CVMC. Go to dogoodfest.com to reserve your tickets today.
We'll take a look at this. Crews spent most of the day rescuing people from their homes. An older woman escorted through floodwaters in Johnson. First responders say they had to help multiple people get to safety throughout the day. The Green Mountain Boys, Vermont's Army and Air National Guard, are stepping in to help with the emergency response.
Calvin Cutler embedded with a crew from Camp Johnson to the hardest hit part of the state, I should say, and has this report.
Several days after the storm began, many communities are still seeing a dynamic situation, including in central Vermont, where here in Montpelier, the Vermont National Guard has been called in to assist families. Rapidly changing conditions, overwhelming local crews in some spots. In Richmond, rescuers needed rescuing from floodwaters. Facing unsafe roads, with many still stranded, the National Guard has been activated. Tuesday, we met up with about 30 Army National Guard members deployed from Camp Johnson.
We're the unit that initially goes in to help stabilize, while more resources can be mobilized.
Zigzagging through flooded valleys, a convoy of Guard members traversed the Mad River Valley, over the Warren Gap, and up through Northfield to reach the barracks in Berlin. For the Vermont National Guard crews that are traveling to central Vermont, their main focus is assisting local municipalities with the response to the flood.
We may be taking over some roadblocks that local law enforcement might be doing, so they're freed up for other resources. And then whatever
what other taskings they might need from us.
The Guard works in partnership with State Emergency Management to meet pressing life safety needs: food, water, transportation, shelter, and others. In the early stages of the storm, crews are focusing on safety, working to get people to higher ground.
As of right now, primary mission is going to be the LMTVs in Montpelier.
One of the reasons that we are in the National Guard is to be a resource for the state, and that is part of why we do it, to be part of something a little bit bigger.
And as the state's response to the disaster evolves, they say eventually they'll take over other tasks.
We're here to react to what's already happened, and then we're also here to preempt what's going to happen and hopefully mitigate any sort of circumstances that might become tragic in the future.
The Air National Guard has also been deployed to evacuate people from the hardest hit remote areas and to keep an eye from the sky. Reporting in Montpelier, Calvin Cutler, Channel 3 News.
Now your Channel 3 Max Advantage forecast.
Of course, the rain has stopped, but there's still a number of communities underwater this evening to varying degrees. Rivers are slowly starting to respond now that the rain has come to an end. And the good news is we do have a break for at least another day with the rainfall. So we'll continue to see water levels slowly receding. Most of the rivers that are still in flood stage will slowly exit flood stage sometime between about 11 o'clock later on this evening. But some might not drop below flood stage until into the day or even early afternoon tomorrow. Some rivers like Otter Creek at Center Rutland or the Winooski in Waterbury or Essex Junction. So with that, you want to keep heeding local emergency manager situations, stay away from the flood water as much as you can. Now, there still are a number of rivers in minor flood stage right now and major flood stage across the area. I do want to point out the Winooski River at Essex Junction. This is the graph of what the water level has done there. We haven't really started to see that go down yet, so I can't say we've officially crested there, but we should be right about at it right now. And notice how it takes all the way into tomorrow afternoon to fully drop below action stage, falling below that orange flood stage category there at some point tomorrow afternoon. And again, we will be seeing a gradual reduction area wide. We do still have river flood warnings in effect for a lot of those rivers that have had problem spots on them this evening. But again, the good news